Hey, fourth grade, when you hear the word culture, because I'm guessing a lot of you know what that word means, when you hear that word culture, what does that mean? Like, what are some ways that you would define or explain the word culture? I'm gonna let you think about that for a second. All right, so the way I would define culture and the way a dictionary defines culture is that it is the way a group of people live and pass on that way of living from one generation to another. So, for example, if you come from Mexico, your family has a culture, they speak Spanish, they eat certain foods, they celebrate certain holidays, and that's part of their culture. And then you're learning that from your grandparents and your parents who have learned it from their grandparents and their parents. So it's being passed down in the family. Um, some things that make up culture are the beliefs a group of people share, such as religion or morals, like things that they think are right and wrong. Behaviors, for example, some cultures, you take off your shoes as soon as you go into someone's house, or you take a gift the first time you go visit somebody. Language, um, values, what you think is important, like education or marriage, um, different rules, clothing, food, holidays that are celebrated, different celebrations, dancing, and traditions. So these are all things that make up a culture of a group of people, like ethnically. So it could be a group of culture could be something that people share because of their ethnicity. It could also be um, because of history or their community or their geography. And for example, there's a Paragon Mills Elementary School culture, and there's certain things that we do at Paragon Mills Elementary School that can pre-K through fourth grade, like when you come into school in the morning and the dismissal or and the ways we treat each other and the ways teachers teach. That's part of the Paragon Mills culture. And then you also have a classroom culture that you know what your teacher expects from you, you know where to find things, you know what's okay, you know when you can go to the bathroom or when you can do independent reading, and that is your classroom culture. So there are different kinds of cultures, and the first thing when we think about culture is ethnically, like where someone is from, like American culture, Mexican culture, Chinese culture, and different things like that. So today we're going to read a passage that's in your packet. So either you are able to pull it up online and look at it, and you can read along with me, or you got a paper packet from the school or from the school district somewhere. So we're going to read that. And before we actually start reading it, I want to go over the questions so that as we are reading, you're going to pay attention to the text, look for text evidence to find those answers to the questions. And yes, the answer key is right below the questions, but we're going to use our brains and think and see if we can answer them by ourselves without looking at the answer key. So, the article we're going to read is called The World of Celebrations, and I'm going to start right here. Number 1. And if you've got your packet, we can start there. This is what it says. It looks like this. And then the first reading says World of Celebrations, so that's what we're doing. And I'm going to scroll down to the bottom here, and it says, whoops, I'm going to hide those answers. Number 1, how are the celebrations in Hawaii and in the Ivory Coast alike? A, people play ball at both celebrations. B, people dance at both celebrations. Or C, people make masks at both celebrations. So you want to pay attention to the celebration in Hawaii and in the Ivory Coast. And when we say the word celebration, um, we're like sometimes we change celebration and holiday. I think we use those kind of interchangeably. So celebrate here, it is an important day or a happy day with a party or a fun activity. So um, it's going to be talking about something that is done in Hawaii, a celebration in Hawaii, and a celebration in the Ivory Coast, which is in Africa. And what do they have that are the same? So are they going to be playing ball? Are they going to be dancing? Or are they going to be making masks? Okay, question number 2 says, what is an example of a tradition? So here's that word, tradition. And it is a long custom or belief that has been passed down from one generation to another. So I think I could say that a tradition in American culture and other cultures too is when you first meet somebody in American culture, you shake hands with them. And that is a tradition. In other places like Europe, maybe people will kiss on the cheeks, or in the Middle East, they will kiss on the cheeks. So, what is an example of tradition? A, people in Thailand always treat older relatives with respect. B, people in Hawaii live just north of the equator. And if you don't know what the equator is, it's the line that divides the northern part of the world from the southern part of the world, the hemispheres. And it's hot. The weather around the equator is hot. And C, people in the Ivory Coast live in villages. So which one of those, as we are reading the text, tells us as an example of a tradition? All right, number 3. The author would agree that A, celebrations take a lot of time and money and might not be worth it. So it's saying it's a lot of effort, so maybe we shouldn't do it. B, celebrations around the world are filled with traditions and fun. C, celebrations help people to become better dancers. So I want you to put those in your mind so you're thinking about what celebrations in Hawaii and the Ivory Coast, how are they alike? Number 2, you're thinking about what is an example of a tradition. So pay attention to when you see the word tradition. And number 3, what do you think the author would agree with from those 3 statements? So you're thinking about that as we read through the text. So I'm going to start reading. This is called World of Celebrations, written by Marne Wilson and illustrated by Jim Madsen. All over the world, people get together to celebrate. And we said that celebrate was an important day or a happy day with a party or a fun activity. They celebrate birthdays, religious holidays, and national holidays. And each culture celebrates in a different way. So when we're talking about culture here, we're talking about cultures around the world. We're not talking about a school culture or business culture. We're talking about an ethnic culture, ways people live around the world. So, and each culture celebrates in a different way. Some people make special holiday foods. Some wear special holiday clothes. Some have special holiday parties. Here's a look at a few celebrations around the world. And I want to take a look at that word holiday. It is usually a day where there is no work. It's an official holiday, a public holiday, and so people stay home with their families. Sometimes people have to work, but it's usually a day where people celebrate together and they don't work. All right. So Kauai is one of the Hawaiian islands in the Pacific Ocean. And if Miss Bermudez was here, she probably could tell us a lot more about holidays and celebrations in Hawaii. But she is not, so we will continue reading the text. In Kauai, people have had fun at the Coconut Festival for many years. Coconuts grow at the top of tall, thin palm trees. Every part of the coconut tree is useful. The trunk can be used for wood, and the leaves can be used to make mats and roofs. The nut can be eaten or pressed to get oil. The husk and shell can be burned for fuel. During the festival, Hawaiians have coconut contests. Who can be the first one to the top of the coconut palm? Who can crack a coconut open the fastest? Who can make the best food using coconuts? Kids paint the coconuts and teenagers play ball with them. Men and women make clothes out of their leaves. And performers dance and sing. Coconuts are very important to Hawaiians, so at the Coconut Festival, people celebrate coconuts. Why do you think coconuts are important to the Hawaiians? I'm thinking that coconuts are important to the Hawaiians because they harvest them and then they sell them, and it's part of how they make money. It's part of their economy, and they use them for food, and they use them as a livelihood, for a way for them to make money. Just south of Hawaii is the equator. Following the equator, east leads to the African continent. The Ivory Coast is located there. Every year, people in the villages make masks. Some of the masks look like animal heads, and others look like scary faces. In November, the villagers celebrate the Festival of Masks. They wear their masks and dance while huge drums boom the rhythm. Which dancer moves the most like an animal? Which mask is the best? The most skilled dancers in each village get to dance at the National Festival of Masks. Continuing on, following the prime meridian, north from the Ivory Coast leads to England. So that's the line that divides the east and the west. So we've got the equator dividing the northern and southern hemispheres, and then we've got the prime meridian dividing the western and eastern hemispheres. After a cold winter, the English celebrate the coming of spring on May 1st, which is my birthday, by the way. Each community has its own party, and they decorate the streets with flowers and greenery. Often they put up a maypole with wide ribbons hanging from it. Dancers weave the ribbons as they move around the pole. Other groups dance through the streets. Many people wear white clothing. Girls carry flowers and put flowers in their hair. May Day is a time for love and joy. East of the European continent is the Asian continent. Thailand is at the south end of the Asian continent. Every April 13th, Thai people celebrate the new year with the Water Festival. This festival is a time to honor older relatives. Young people pour water over their grandparents' hands as a sign of respect. And I want to go ahead and talk about festival really quick. It looks like this. And it is a day or a period of celebration. So it says April 13th is the Water Festival, but the celebration kind of goes on for a couple of days. But the Water Festival is mainly for fun. The Water Festival is mostly for fun. For 3 days, people play with water. So there it is, 3 days. So that's their festival. They throw cups of water at people walking by. Doesn't that sound so fun? They shoot water guns at their friends and soak their neighbors with garden hoses. All over the country, people have huge water fights. April is the hottest month of the year in Thailand, and the Water Festival is a fun way to cool down. But you know what? They didn't get to celebrate it this year because of the coronavirus. They had to stay home and they couldn't go out and do the Water Festival. Celebrations happen all over the world on all different continents. So the continents there's 7 of them: Europe, Asia, Australia, Antarctica, North America, South America, and Africa. So those are our continents. People eat special meals, they give gifts, and they have parties. Celebrations are a time to remember traditions and a time to have fun. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the video here, and I'm going to start a new video, and we'll go over the answers to the questions. And you can take a look at your packet, take some time, and I'll pick it back up, and then you will have something to write about.